Alright guys, I'm so excited for today's video, and it was just announced last week, Hermes H24 Eau De Parfum. It was announced, I saw it on Macy's, I ordered it, ran it through Rakuten, went and picked it up today. It's in my box, and I'm going to tell you all about Hermes H24 Eau De Parfum today. But ever since H24 and Eau de Toilette was launched last year, I said to myself, great, I cannot wait for the Eau De Parfum to come out, finally. Almost a year and a half later, we have the H24 Eau De Parfum. So if you're curious to learn about H24 Eau De Parfum, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about Hermes H24 in the Eau De Parfum. This was just recently announced. It was available on Macy's. It wasn't available for pickup. They were going to ship it. They shipped it. Now it's there. I went and picked it up. In fact, Macy's is currently having a sale. So if you guys are in the market for fragrances, 15% off all beauty. So I also ran it through Rakuten. When I ran it through Rakuten then, I got 4% cash back. Now it's 10%, so you get an extra 10% cash back. So if you haven't signed up for Rakuten, please do. I have a link in the info box. But either way, I'm excited for the Eau De Parfum version of Hermes H24. It's in here, so let's go ahead and open it up. A little difficult to open this up without a slicer. So I did run it through Rakuten, as I said, and they shipped it to Macy's, so I picked it up from there. Sometimes I prefer to pick it up from the stores because I have a lot of packages being delivered at the house or in the studio, and there's nobody really there to claim it. But here it is, H24 Eau De Parfum. So the boxes are different. This is a darker colored box in comparison to the lighter colored box. So darker meaning more concentrated Eau De Parfum. So this is the 2022 launch. Christine Nagel once again is the perfumer, in-house perfumer over at Hermes. She replaced Jean-Claude Elena. This is considered a woody aromatic fragrance, and again the concentration is Eau De Parfum. $137 for the 100 ml. But don't forget, Macy's currently is having a 15% off sale. And don't forget to run it through Rakuten to get an extra 10% cash back. There's a sign-up bonus that gives you $30 back as well. My link is in the info box. So according to the notes here, we've got Clary Sage, Oakmoss, and Sclarene, along with Narcissus and Rosewood. And the original was Clary Sage and Rosewood and Narcissus in the Eau de Toilette. So let's go ahead and open it up. How many of you is a fan of the original Hermes H24 in the Eau de Toilette? I always thought that Hermes did a great job on this. It doesn't smell like every other men's designer fragrance, which was unique. I like the whole minerally metallic experience with this fragrance, and its green and earthy woody aromatic touches. So here is the bottle for H24 in Eau De Parfum, and this is the bottle for H24 in Eau de Toilette. Again, the notes are Clary Sage, Oakmoss, and Sclarene. What is Sclarene? Sclarene is an ingredient or note that is described as a powerful woody ambery and reminiscent of Clary Sage. So they're using Clary Sage plus they're using Sclarene. So this must be very, very aromatic and green and herbal as well. Let's spray a bunch here. Wow. Interesting. There's definitely a damp forest-like smell here. Oh, they are using Oakmoss. Oakmoss tends to go that way. So yeah, this is so different than the original, whereas it is kind of like in the background smelling like the original, but totally smells different. And here's the thing, it's developing into smelling a bit like barbershop-y. Very, very interesting. Let's spray the original to kind of do a comparison. It's definitely deeper, richer, definitely woodier. Only thing I don't like about these bottles is this stuff comes off, sadly. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely a difference here. I mean, I like both. They're so different. And then the same, if that makes sense. The Oakmoss in the Eau de Parfum takes me to kind of a barbershoppy direction. Takes me back to the 70s and 80s where men's fragrances use a lot of Oakmoss. That's kind of a breath of fresh air. That's kind of a nice smell. The first initial spray, I was a little uncertain about it, but this is nice. I like the whole throwback to the 70s and 80s masculine fragrances. Again, this is not like that, but there's something in there that kind of takes me to that, you know, to yesteryear, to kind of remind me of those fragrances that I first started smelling off of my dad and uncles who were wearing fragrances and colognes and things like that. So it's very, very green. There's definitely a spicy edge to it. It's very mossy. I envision forest floor, damp with overgrowth of like moss, basically, or greens. Lots of woods here, and definitely very earthy. The forest floor comes to mind. Of course, it's also very aromatic. That Clary sage is really prominent here. This is really fantastic. Now let's go ahead and spray it on me and to see how it's going to smell. So initial blast is not my favorite, but I like it. But it's the blast. I don't like it as much. Then it starts developing. Then it becomes more of a favorite, like it starts smelling really nice. And then as it's developing, wow. Yeah, this is going to be great. This is really fantastic. If you thought the original was great, I mean, you might not like this because it does smell different than the original, whereas it reminds you of it, but it's so much more different to me. Just a lot deeper. And there's definitely an ambery base. It's an ambery experience, and I think it's that Sclarene because apparently it's ambery, woody, and it's reminiscent of Clary sage. We also have the Clary sage in here. Wow, this is really nice. This is a great Hermes fragrance. So cool that it does not smell like every other damn men's fragrance, because I hate all those fragrances that start smelling like one after another. This is totally different than any other men's fragrance I'm smelling. Very original, very unique, very earthy, and Hermes fragrances tend to go earthy, and I think Christine Nagel has accomplished a great job on this one. This smells fantastic. I absolutely love it. Alright, I'm going to pause the video now, wear it a little bit, and come back and report back. Alright, I got the fragrance on for about an hour on me. And the way the fragrance developed on me is that it started smelling more like the original H24 while having this other smell wrapped around it as well. But when you first spray it, it's a little odd, which I'm starting to enjoy. I think I'll try it again a couple more times. Then it becomes really great. It just smells like a forest floor. It reminds me of barbershop scents with lots of Oakmoss. But this is not your traditional barbershoppy fragrance experience like something like Beau de Jour or At the Barbers and things like that. This greenness in this fragrance, in this fragrance, reminds me more of the greenness in something like Rogue Perfumery's Mousse Luminée. I'm not saying they're identical fragrances, it's just the greenness and the mossiness in here reminds me of the mossiness in that fragrance, which is a breath of fresh air, and I like that about this one. The reason I also like the way the smelling doesn't smell like every other men's fragrance, which I already mentioned. It smells pretty original for today and pretty unique, whereas every other men's fragrance starts smelling the same. This stands alone and smelling original and against what other fragrances are smelling. The only thing about this particular fragrance though is I'm not sure how popular it'll be, because people are very picky about smelling like grandpa or dad or something. Is this going to remind people of their father or their grandfather? I don't know. I quite like this one a lot. In fact, I actually like it a lot more than the original. Even though the original was great, I wanted it to be more deeper and richer, and that's exactly what this is. Deeper and richer, and in a different direction. Whereas it's covered up, the original fragrance is covered up with more woods, more amber, lots of moss, more earth, and lots of overdose of green aromatics. Quite a great fragrance. I really like this one, and I think it's funny, somebody recently, I mentioned this in another video, somebody recently was going around commenting on all my Hermes videos saying Christine Nagel sucks, Christine Nagel is the worst perfumer, this and that, this and that, this and that. I was like, what is wrong with you? Why do you hate this perfumer so much? I think so far she's done a great job with H24, and then now H24 Eau De Parfum, but just between these two fragrances, she did Terre de Hermes H24 EDT. I like all three fragrances. They're breaths of fresh air and not smelling like every other designer fragrances. That's what really disappoints me about men's fragrances. It's like they shift it around a little bit, and when you remove those little shifts, it starts smelling like every other men's fragrance. So this to me is great, and I think it totally fits in line with Hermes's fragrances. And I think it should satisfy people. At least I think it should. But my fear is it might not, especially people that are into those fragrances that I'm complaining a lot about might not really like this one, and it might remind them of more of a classic fragrance experience. The fragrance is still going strong. It's been, like I said, just a little over an hour by now. It's gotten a little more herbal at this stage, but man, it's really, really great. I love that whole kind of damp, earthy, forest floor, kind of green forest floor experience. That's what I like about it. So it acts more like a Chypre style fragrance rather than a barbershop. But then again, back in those days, back in the old days, they used lots of Oakmoss in barbershop-y fragrances among Chypre fragrances as well. So I'm quite happy with this fragrance, really am. Has anybody gotten their nose on this yet? Do you enjoy the original H24 from Hermes, and are you looking forward to the Eau De Parfum? It's been a kind of an up and down kind of experience with designer fragrances. There's a lot that I don't like, there's a lot that I do like, and I aired a video yesterday of most recent men's designer fragrances. Maybe I should have waited, because this would have been quite up there at the top. Probably not at the very top, but probably definitely top 5 for sure, maybe even top 4, as I think it's really, really a great scent. It's more, well, actually what I featured in that video, there were a lot deeper fragrances. This definitely has freshness. There's not a lot of warmth in this one, except for when it gets into the dry down. It does become ambery, but it's not a warm ambery experience like some of the other fragrances, like the Tom Ford Noir Extreme Parfum in that video was a lot warmer. There was also the Narciso Rodriguez and Blue Noir Parfum, a lot warmer experience. This one definitely has more of a freshness. So even though it's Eau De Parfum, it's more intense, but it's more of like a fresh experience. And I'm going to compare it to also the Burberry Hero EDP. Much better in this fragrance versus the Burberry Hero EDP. This to me is really something I would wear over and over and over again, because it just smells that good. Anyway, I don't want to take up too much of your time. One last thing I do want to say, this is once again a refillable bottle. As you can see right there. These are refillable bottles. It does come apart right here, as you can see. There you go. Anyway, I'm quite happy with this one. Do take advantage of it. I mean, it's on sale for 15% off at Macy's. And like I said, take advantage of the Rakuten sign-up bonus. You get a $30 cash back. And then you also get 10% back on any purchases at Macy's currently with that 15% off as well. So this would be probably, so if it's $137, 13 plus about $20 off, I think this would be, plus that 10% cash back. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching today's video on Hermes H24 Eau De Parfum. Have you sampled it yet? Are you curious to sample it? Do you like the original? Are you looking forward to the original? Do let me know. Put a comment down. Other than that guys, thanks so much for watching. As I said, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Guys, I just wanted to do a follow-up after the outro. So the fragrance has been on me, on my hand here. It's still going pretty strong, but it is subdued now after about 3.5 hours. I can still smell the fragrance, but now on me, it's a lot closer to smelling like the Eau de Toilette in comparison to that deep, rich, ambery, green, woody, earthy mossiness of the H24 Eau De Parfum. So this to me is a perfect fragrance. The kind of fragrance that I like. It's different than everything else. It's unique. It's a breath of fresh air than smelling like every other designer fragrance. I really love it. I really, really love this one, and I think I'll put it to great use. And I hope you guys go ahead and try this as well, because it's so different than everything else. Sure, it's going to smell like the original, and you might be fine with the original, but if you want it deeper, richer, more like that forest floor experience, especially when you first spray it and when you first wear it like 2-3 hours in, I think this is a great option. Later, when it's drying down, as it is on me, it's going to be a lot closer to smelling like the original H24. So that's just another thing I wanted to add here. I'm happy with this. Literally, I'm happy with this H24 Eau De Parfum. Do you guys plan to check it out? Do let me know. Please report back here so I can find out. And also, do you consider this unique in comparison to other designer fragrances? Or do you not consider this unique? It smells like everything else you've smelled. And also, does it remind you of some of the classics that I was talking about earlier? Please do let me know.